everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Kelly from Kelly Lee Creates and I teach lettering and digital design. So today I have a Procreate tutorial for you and I'm going to show you how to make this seamless repeat pattern. And this is a pattern using the Ogee template. Now if you've seen some of my pattern tutorials in the past, you've seen me do tutorials with a diamond template and a fan template and a basic full drop repeat. This process is similar to the process in my previous videos. This is just using a different template called the Ogee template. So what you see here is what we're going to create. And I'm not going to take you through the steps on how to illustrate this. I'm just going to take you through the steps on how to put the pattern together using the Ogee template. So let's get started. With all templates or with all seamless patterns, you need to start off with a square canvas. And this one is 3000 by 3000 pixels. So the next step after you have your square canvas is you have to draw the template. Now I have a stamp brush with my Ogee template, so I'm just going to stamp this and show you what the template looks like. So this is the Ogee template, but if you don't have a stamp brush and if you want to draw this yourself, I'm going to show you exactly how to do it. And then I'll leave a link to a tutorial that I have so you can convert your design into a stamp brush so you won't have to draw this from scratch every single time. Now I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to come up to the wrench icon, toggle on drawing guide, hit edit drawing guide, tap on symmetry, and under options you want quadrant symmetry. And what that does is anything you draw in one quadrant, it's gonna mimic your drawing in all 4 quadrants. So it's going to make it very easy to draw this template. On a new layer, make sure your layer says assisted next to it. That means the symmetry is turned on. And if this word assisted is not on, you're just going to tap on the layer and come down here to drawing assist and make sure that there's a check mark next to drawing assist. And that means that this layer is going to have your symmetry settings on this layer. So I'm going to use a monoline brush and I'm just going to trace this template right here. You don't have to be perfect, you just want to shape like this. After you have your template drawn, you can then fill in your template with your illustration. Now, like I said, I'm not going to show you how to illustrate this, but what you want to do is just make sure whatever you draw, everything stays within these lines. I'm just going to paste in an illustration that I already have. You see that everything is within this template. So don't extend outside the template, because if you do that, then your illustrations are going to overlap and your pattern is going to look all wonky. In my layers panel, you can see that I have the template on one layer and I have the illustration on another layer. The next step is we have to duplicate these layers and we're going to move the illustration into each of the 4 corners. You want to group the illustration and the template together. Tap on one layer, swipe right and hit group, and then swipe left, and we're just going to duplicate this 4 times because we want 4 corners and then we want 1 illustration in the center. So you're going to have 5 total groups. I make 6 groups just so I can keep 1 as a backup in case anything goes wrong. So you have your 5 groups. Now you're going to tap on the first group and hit this arrow, tap on the arrow, and make sure down here that snapping is turned on, and magnetics and snapping, both those are toggled, and the distance and the velocity are set to max. This is going to make sure that your design snaps perfectly into place. So with the first layer selected, tap on the arrow and you're just going to drag it up and over to this corner. So you want to make sure that you get the orange lines that show that everything is lined up. So up and over this way into that corner. And sometimes it makes it easier to see if you turn off all the layers below it. So you're going to take this next group and do the same thing, except we're going to put it down here in the lower left corner. So down and to the left. And when you have the other layers turned off, you can see the lines easier. You're looking for the 2 orange lines, and that means it's lined up perfectly. And then I'm going to turn on another layer, and we're going to go up and to the right. And then this final layer here down and to the right. And then this layer, make sure to turn on the layer that was your original layer in the center. So now we have all our layers all the layers in place, but we need to get rid of these templates because obviously we don't want those templates in the pattern. So I'm just going to go into each group and swipe left and delete the templates. But leave your original group intact, the group down here at the bottom. See, I still have the template in that group. Just leave that group intact so you can go back and you have an original in case you make any mistakes. The next step is to flatten these layers. So each one of these layers is going to be flattened and they're all going to be combined together. So to do that, I just tap on the layer and hit flatten. And you just do that for each one of these layers. Flatten, flatten. And then you want to combine all these layers together. You can tap and hit merge down, or you can take 2 fingers and pinch them all together. So now you have all your florals on one layer. Now we need to make 4 copies of this combined layer. So swipe left and hit duplicate and make 4 copies of this one. And make sure to turn off the bottom. We're going to keep this 5th one, again, just as a backup to come back to it if anything goes wrong. So now you have your 4 copies. And now what we're going to do is test out this pattern, because this right here, this is the pattern block. And so this side of the pattern lines up with this side of the pattern right here, and the bottom lines up with the top. That's what makes this repeating. But we're going to test out this pattern block now. Just tap on the first layer right here, come up to the arrow tool, and there are 2 ways to do this. You can take and drag it like this and drop it into place, or you can tap on the dot right here, and since this is 3000 by 3000, you can enter 1500 by 1500 and it'll snap into place. So you can do it either way. For this one, I'm gonna come up here to the arrow and I'm gonna drag it up like that, and it snaps into place, but just make sure it says 1500 by 1500 exactly, because if you get it a few pixels off, it's going to mess up your pattern. So I come down to the next one. I'm going to tap here and hit 1500, and that's going to snap right into place. The final thing that we have to do to check this, I'm going to turn off this drawing guide right here. I'm going to go up to the wrench, canvas, and toggle off the drawing guide so there's no grid lines in there. Once you have all 4 layers moved into each of the 4 corners, then you merge these layers together again, just like we did in the last step. So hit tap on the layer and hit merge down. And then you can see that everything is on one layer. And the last thing that I like to do is scroll through. Just take a look and make sure there are no like funky like white lines going through my design, which would indicate that the pattern, oops, is not lined up correctly, but it looks pretty good. You can take it a step further if you want to scale the pattern down, and you can duplicate this layer again 4 times. And I'm going to turn off the original just to keep as a backup. And you can do the same thing. Tap, oops. Tap on the corner and scale it down to 1500 by 1500. So every time you do this, the pattern gets a bit smaller, and so you can make different scales of the pattern depending on what type of item you want to put this on. Now you can send these patterns to like print on demand sites. You can upload this to Spoonflower to sell on Fabric. You can send these patterns to places that will make phone cases. You can put these patterns on a phone case. You can put patterns on pretty much anything you can think of. So that's how you make a seamless repeat pattern using the Ogee template. If you like this tutorial, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss any new videos. And if you want more tutorials like this, make sure to visit my blog at kellyleecreates.com. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.